WLGC-FM, Greenup, Ashland, Huntington, is the all-new Kool Hits 105.7, playing the greatest songs of all time.
Hits 105.7.
Kool Hits 105.7 now presents Let's Talk Sports, a complete look at sports scores and stories. We'll also talk with coaches, players, sports broadcasters and writers, and others making sports news. Let's Talk Sports is brought to you by Fannon's Boyd County Ford, Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State, Bowman's Auto Service Center, KDMC Sports Medicine, River Cities Builders, Commercial Bank of Grayson, Kentucky, Ohio Automotive Centers, and by Monroe Collision Center. Now, here's the host of Let's Talk Sports, Tim Carper.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome into this edition of Let's Talk Sports. Tim Carper with you, along with James Collier, on this absolutely gorgeous Saturday morning here in Ashland, Kentucky. And I'll tell you what, thanks, City of Ashland, for letting me know that I couldn't get to work this morning.
Yeah, I started toward here, then I tried to hail a cab. I said, I need to get to Winchester Avenue, and he said, sorry, you can't get there from here.
Got to get a helicopter.
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing things a little bit differently this morning. I have a buddy that has been in the news lately, to say the least. Over the past couple months. And I called him and just want him to have a chance to talk about his situation right now. And if I did everything right, I've got Coach Donnie Tyndall on the line. Coach, are you there?
I am. Good morning, guys.
Hey, how's it going? And I tell you what, I'm going to say right up front a couple of things. Number one, I've been a friend of Donnie Tyndall's for a long time, and I'm a huge Donnie Tyndall supporter. And also, number two, I've read the entire appeal, and I've read everything I can read about this. So, Coach, you know I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. We're going to try to be as objective as I can, though, with you this morning.
Sure. Well, I appreciate it. And, you read the appeal, Tim, so you obviously know that this whole situation has just been extremely challenging and difficult. You're talking about 41 people that have testified, 40 people said that I had absolutely nothing to do with this, wasn't involved, wasn't part of it. And one person, Adam Howard, a former assistant coach who had lied to the NCAA on two separate occasions in November. We had to fire him from Tennessee. 5 months later, he changes his story and says that I was involved. And lo and behold, his attorney, Gene Marsh, was a guy that used to be the chairperson for the Committee on Infractions. So I say that to say there'd never been a coach in the history of an NCAA investigation that was given immunity after lying. And his attorney was so tied in with the NCAA Committee of Infractions people that he was able to cut him a deal for full immunity. So here's a guy that had lied twice, ends up getting full immunity to incriminate me and say I was part of it. And then we go to the hearing. It's still 40-1. So you're thinking, well, there's just no way they're going to side with one guy who's already lied twice. And lo and behold, they do. And not only do they find me guilty of the charges, but give me a 10-year show cause, which is just so absolutely over the top and ridiculous, Tim, that if you're not living it, you just kind of chuckle and say, well, there goes the NCAA again. But when you're living it and going through it, and this whole situation has played out like it has, it's been pretty tough, to say the least.
Well, Coach, let's go back and talk about the infractions themselves, what you were accused of, and what precipitated all this. I guess it was at SMU, right?
Yeah, at Southern Miss, and there were some academic misconduct situations with some junior college guys that we had recruited, and once we signed them, they needed a class or two to get into Southern Miss, and then there were a couple Prop 48 kids that I was alleged having paid part of their sit-out year. Well, I was cleared of the Prop 48 stuff because I had it cleared through the compliance office at Southern Miss that the high school coaches could pay for the kids' remaining balance because they actually lived with their high school coaches at parts or all times of their high school career. So Adam Howard was the only guy that said I paid the balance for those kids, which the kids said I didn't, the coaches said I didn't, and the mom and dad said I didn't. So for whatever reason, I was cleared on that, and it was just a level 2 secondary violation that the coaches paid it because they weren't supposed to.
Right.
All right, but then the academic stuff, who the only person that said I knew about it was Adam Howard. Somehow I get charged with that, and when you got academic misconduct on your deal, then obviously that's going to hurt you ever getting a chance, not just at Division I, but at any academic institution. So that was the crux of it right there. Nothing happened at Tennessee. It was all at Southern Miss, and unfortunately, when Adam Howard was going to testify, he did testify on March 26th, and when he told the NCAA in what's called a proffer conference call, what he was going to say the next morning on the record. And mind you, we were supposed to be invited, my lawyer and I, to be able to listen or be at that conference call. And the NCAA did not tell us about the proffer call, so we weren't there. Just another example of what the NCAA can do, and no one really holds them accountable. But that night or that afternoon, they called Dave Hart, my athletic director at Tennessee, told him what Adam Howard was getting ready to say the next morning on the record. And Dave Hart called me that night, set up a meeting at 7 a.m. the next morning, and fired me. So Adam Howard and what he said cost me the Tennessee job. And then as they go on to investigate the things Adam Howard said, absolutely every single thing he said was disproven or didn't involve me or was unsubstantiated or uncorroborated. But the damage was already done. And so I think that they gave the ruling they did because the chairperson, Eleanor Myers, knew that she'd given a guy who'd lied twice full immunity. That had never happened before. And if they didn't stick me with a strong penalty, then the national media was going to say, now hold on here, you cost this guy his career and $10 million at Tennessee, and all you have on him is what one guy who lied twice already is saying? Come on now. I mean, they would absolutely torch her in the national media. So it becomes a cover your own butt situation, right, by Eleanor Myers and the Committee on Infraction.
Where do we go from now? I know there's the appeal's been filed, and July 5th, I guess, is the date that we're looking at for them to. Are they going to decide they're going to hear the appeal? Are they going to rule on the appeal itself? What actually is going to happen?
No, what happens is that they're supposed to reply to our initial brief Tuesday, July 5th, and then we get 15 days to follow up. And then when we follow up, we set a date, which will probably be in August or September, to get in front of the appeals committee and have our case be heard again by 4 different individuals than anyone that was on the Committee on Infractions. Now, it's ironic to me, yesterday, their deal was due Tuesday morning, this coming Tuesday, and they asked for a 2-week extension. And, it's just another example. Think about this now. They've got a multi-billion-dollar business going. They've got probably hundreds of lawyers on their staff. We replied a month ago, and they asked yesterday for a 2-week extension to get their reply back to us. So it's just another example. I mean, you got literally hundreds of lawyers, and you can't get your deal done on time. You've got to have an extension. It's just like, come on, it's one thing after another,
Yep. I understand. Been there, done that. Not at your level, but I understand exactly what you're going through in a way. Coach, what are you looking for out of this? I know in your appeal, I know the least you want is a reduction of the penalty, which is, as you said, unprecedented. I think it's happened one time in the NCAA history, and to me, looking from the outside in, and I don't know everything, obviously. I know you, and I trust you, and I believe in you. I think the worst thing that should have happened in this situation, personally, is something akin to what happened to Boeheim or somebody like that.
Well, that's what this case should have been. It should have been a 9-game suspension and what's called a coach control penalty. You know, when Jim Boeheim had some things happen on his watch that he didn't know about, he got the coach control penalty in 9 games. Larry Brown, same thing at SMU.
Right.
And that's what I should have got. But when you go into these situations and you don't have a university behind you and protecting you like both of those guys did, then the NCAA feels like they can just tee off on you and do whatever they want, and which has happened, not millions, dozens of times over the years where the coaches just kind of go away. They're never heard from again, and they just, go sell insurance or sell cars or, get in a different profession. And I'm not going to go away. We're going to appeal this thing, and even a reduction isn't good enough. This thing needs to be overturned. The numbers, the facts, the evidence, the other people involved have all spoken for itself. 40-1. Saying I had nothing to do with this and wasn't involved. And so it needs to be overturned. And if it's not, then we just keep going to the next step because it's not right. With what's happened, my career is ruined. I don't know if I'd ever get to coach in college again, even if they overturn it. So now it's just about doing what's right, and it's not just about me. It's for the next coach or group of coaches that is treated unfairly like this. Because if you can lose your career and your dream job over what one guy says, I mean, this can start happening to anybody. You have to fire an assistant because he won't work or he's lazy or he's not on time, whatever it may be. And this guy can go make something up about you, and then all of a sudden you lose your career and your job. I mean, that's a bad trend to start if you're a college coach at any sport. So it's not just about me. It's for the next group of coaches, too, that will continue to fight.
Now, that was one of the next questions I was going to ask concerning if this is overturned, and I certainly hope it is. Do you think that a college would take a chance?
Well, it just comes down to, in situations like that, is who's the president, who's the athletic director, and do you already have a relationship with those people where they know what you're about and don't believe all the stuff that's been written and said and really try to dig into the truth. I think if an athletic director or president read the entire appeal that, like you did, there's no way you can read that and walk away and say, boy, this guy was treated fairly and he got what he deserved. So right. If an AD or president, and most have been accused or alleged of doing something that they didn't do or have dealt with situations like this in the past, then maybe you have a chance. But if not, and a guy judges you based on what they've read or heard before really digging into the case, which many will, then you really don't have a chance. So it'll just kind of depend on who the people making the decisions are, and it certainly won't be in the very near future if it ever happens. That's for sure.
Well, Coach, I got to get to a break. Can you hang on and let's talk about what you're doing now and some exciting things happening for you?
Sure.
Okay.
That'd be fine, too.
We're going to take a break. We're talking with Coach Donnie Tyndall. We'll take a break, come back, and continue our talk. You're listening to Let's Talk Sports on Kool Hits 105.7.
If you've been in a wreck or need work done on your vehicle, Bowman's Auto Service is the place to go. If you've had engine problems, need a tune-up, oil change, or maybe you need a transmission flush, the place to go is Bowman's Auto Service. Bowman's Auto Service on Lexington Avenue in Flatwoods is an ICAR Gold Certified collision repair shop and an ASE Certified mechanical shop. They've been in the business for over 30 years, and they repair and fix all makes and models. Bowman's uses computer diagnostic, and they work with all insurance companies. Bowman's Auto Service, Lexington Avenue in Flatwoods. Call 836-0837.
Fannon's Boyd County Ford has the car, truck, or SUV you want at the price you can afford. Right now, you can get 0% financing for up to 72 months, plus get $2,000 in bonus cash on select models. Great deals on the 2016 Focus, Fusion, Escape, Explorer, Edge, and F-150. Plus, on most pre-owned vehicles, you'll get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. And no credit or bad credit is no problem. Check out the savings on new and pre-owned vehicles at Fannon's Boyd County Ford, 2119 Greenup Avenue in Ashland, or online at BoydCountyFord.com.
There's people who care where I'm going, and good friends who welcome me home. So get a full tank of freedom, drive the American
the American spirit.
The Clark's Pump and Shop Marathons of the Tri-State, supplied by the John W. Clark Oil Company. Return, refresh, refuel.
If you get injured playing sports, you need to see the Sports Medicine Department at King's Daughters Medical Center. Dr. Andy Gilliland, a specialist in sports injuries, and the sports medicine team will conduct diagnostic tests to find the problem and then prescribe the rehabilitation you need to get you back in the game fast. For more information, call 606-327-0036. Sports Medicine from King's Daughters Medical Center, taking medicine further.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
At the Commercial Bank of Grayson, we're celebrating our 125th anniversary, and we are grateful to our community for its support through the decades. We're also proud of our 125 years of independent local ownership and our long history of assisting our customers with services like mortgages, automobile loans, and personal loans. Commercial Bank of Grayson, Grayson and Olive Hill, here for you for 125 years and counting. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Ouch! Fender bender? First line of defense? Bring your car to Monroe Collision Center on Greenup Avenue in Ashland. Owner Kevin Monroe is there to discuss how to best get you taken care of. Let Kevin tell you about their pre-work process and how Monroe Collision will work with your insurance company directly to get you back in your car much sooner. Monroe Collision Center, 2788 Greenup Avenue, Ashland, home of the free loaner car.
Monroe's Raymond Collision, our work says it all.
And Monroe's is now tinting windows at their Ashland location.
The best deals on new and pre-owned vehicles are found at Kentucky and Ohio Automotive Centers in Grayson and Portsmouth. You'll find the best selection of new Chryslers, Dodge, Jeeps, and Rams, trucks, cars, and SUVs at fantastic prices, plus the best deals in the Tri-State on a big selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. The professional sales staff will make your buying experience pleasant. When you need a new or pre-owned vehicle, see the folks at Kentucky Automotive Center, just off the Grayson exit of I-64, and Ohio Automotive Center on the corner of US 52 and Offner Street in Portsmouth. Online at yourautocenters.com.
Kool Hits 105.7.
Welcome back here to Let's Talk Sports. We're joined today by Coach Donnie Tyndall. And, Coach, I know right now you've got an exciting adventure going on. Let's talk a little bit what you're going to be doing, what you're doing now, and what will be happening this fall.
Well, I've started a prep school. We're going to open a prep school in September. And this first year, Timmy, basically what it'll be is a bunch of fifth-year guys that maybe were under-recruited, maybe, are one class short of getting qualified, maybe were injured during their senior year and didn't get the exposure they hoped to. And then we hope to build it where it becomes, a high school and a prep school team. I have some good young coaches that are coaching the team, and I'll just run the organization. I'll overlook things, be involved with some workouts and practices, and just have a chance to help some young kids trying to still reach their dream of playing college basketball, and then also some young coaches that we can help get them better and get them the exposure that they need to try to move up the coaching ladder. It's going to be here in Athens, Tennessee, which is right in between Knoxville and Chattanooga. And my wife, Nikki, who's actually from Ashland, is working at the college, Tennessee Wesleyan, here in town. And so we're going to stay right here and try to grow this prep school thing. In the meantime, I am still trying to coach. I've got some D-League opportunities that I think may present themselves. I've got an NBA scouting opportunity that's on the table, and then there's some international stuff that I'm going to consider as well. So I still want to coach. That's my passion. That's the one thing I definitely want to try to do. But it may or may not pan out this year, and if not, we'll just stay right here and help run the prep school. If I do get a coaching opportunity, then it's something I'll have really good coaches there every day and can kind of run it from afar.
Well, I know your passion for the game and for your players. I've seen it firsthand, and I tell you what, anybody be crazy not to give you a shot, my friend. You are you're an outstanding coach and a great individual.
Well, I appreciate that. I do, and the biggest thing is you always tell your players every day, you got to get through adversity, you got to get through tough times. Not everyone's going to be pulling for you, and all you can do is stay focused at the task at hand. Try not to get too down, and fight like heck to get through the bumps in the road, and that's what we're doing. It's been incredibly difficult on my entire family, as you can imagine. And the thing that people don't think about either is it wasn't just me and my family. You're talking about some really, really good people. Chris Shumate, Al Pinkins, J.T. Burton, Bo Braden, Ty Profit. I could go on, that had come to Tennessee with me and had children and have families, and they lose their job when I lose my job. So it's a lot of people that have been impacted by this, and you just pray and hope that everybody can land on their feet and continue to provide for their family.
Well, I know it wouldn't pay much, but if you get desperate enough, I can always use a color guy here on my play-by-play.
Well, I've heard you don't pay real well, so I'll have to check into that, brother.
And I don't give up my mic very easy either, so you really wouldn't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah, I hear you.
Have you thought about being an analyst or something along those lines?
Well, I tell you what, I did a lot of radio stuff this year and a little bit of TV, and then had a TV show in Knoxville I did once a week, and I do enjoy it, and it does keep you around the game, and it's something that, I very well may consider down the road or continue to do some of that this year. But, I really want to coach, Tim. I do. And, I thought this would be, out 1 year. And I actually had 2 mid-major athletic directors call me in February and say, look, if you just get coach control on this thing, you're my guy. I'm going to hire you as my head coach. We're making a change. And I really thought that was going to be the case. And then when you get this ruling, you're just like, now what? So that is something I would consider. I enjoy it. I'd like to think I can articulate the game pretty well. And so who knows? But right now my focus is still on trying to get back in coaching and being a part of a team in some capacity.
Well, I understand that, and best of luck to you, Donnie. Appreciate you taking your time this morning with us. And is there anything else that you'd like to talk about this morning?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Have a lot of friends back that way, as you know, and some great years and memories from my time at Morehead State. And, tell everyone I said hello. Appreciate you having me on, and I'll certainly keep you updated as to how things go, Tim.
That sounds great. And one other thing, Merle Kidwell wanted me to ask you about your short stint at Lewis County as a coach. Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, I tell you, the head coach there put so much pressure on me on a daily basis. I finally cracked and got out of that and got into college coaching. But no, Merle's been a great friend of mine for many, many years. Talk about a loyal guy and a great friend. His mom and dad, Coach Kidwell and Miss Alice, just great people. His sisters Stacy and Ty. That whole family's as good as you could ever be around. And I still look back. I think it was my sophomore, junior year of college, and it was Christmas break, and I lived in Michigan. We only had a day or two off, so I couldn't get home. And he had me over to his house for Christmas dinner, and just hung out with his family. And so great people, and I mess around and tease about Merle, but he's been a great friend, and he's a great coach, and he'll get another shot somewhere as well, too.
I agree totally. Donnie, thank you so much for your time today. God bless you, and keep me up to date.